Over the last 50 years, people of different backgrounds were presumed missing or dead. Until one day, a comet begins hurtling towards Earth. The comet slows and makes its landing at the Cascade Range in Washington. This large ball of light explodes, and through the fog 4,400 people emerged, none of them having aged or having memories of what happened to them since they've gone missing. Hello everyone. You're listening, or rather, watching Utter Randomness' podcast. I'm Lulu, your host. This isn't my voice and this is a Flashback Friday. Please consider supporting this channel by subscribing and giving this a thumbs up. Check out my Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee pages. Links can be found in the description box below for everything, including to the original podcast and article for this Flashback Friday episode. Without further ado, in the first episode, we are introduced to the National Threat Assessment Command or NTAC, which is a division of the Department of Homeland Security who oversee the 4,400. Our main characters are Tom Baldwin and Diana Scaris, and they are the lead team investigating the return of the 4,400. Dubbed the returnees, the 4,400 are quarantined, studied, and interrogated until finally being released back into the world. Many remain in Seattle, while others move on, either back home to family or to their country of origin. Many had trouble readjusting back into their lives, and this is because some of them have been gone for several months or even up to 50 years. We find out that not only were the returnees returned to present time, but a seemingly small number of the returnees begin to manifest abilities, such as telekinesis, telepathy, and precognition. That is only a small example of the abilities that the 4,400 have. For example, one of the returnees have the ability to heal, and another became pregnant between her disappearance and her return. We find out quickly in the season finale of Season 1, that the 4,400 were not abducted by aliens, but by future inhabitants of Earth. A person who was meant to be an abductee, Kyle Baldwin, Tom Baldwin's son, was meant to be a messenger. However, he spent months in a coma. Instead, his cousin, Sean Farrell, attempted to protect Kyle from being abducted and ends up being abducted in his place. We find out that the 4,400 were returned to prevent and avert a catastrophe. By the second season, it is revealed that all of the 4,400 have a sort of neurotransmitter in their brains. This neurotransmitter is what gives the 4,400 their abilities. The government, who feared the 4,400 because of their abilities, developed a neuroinhibitor to block the manifestation of abilities in the 4,400. However, the neuroinhibitor not only worked on a small fraction of the 4,400, but caused a fatal immune deficiency. Dr. Kevin Burkhoff was later able to develop a vaccine of sorts, so that the inhibitor could be removed from the 4,400. The third season introduced the Nova Group, a terrorist faction made of the 4,400. They were formed because of the inhibitor. Classic cause and effect, and while the intention was to defend the other 4,400, they eventually became a radical group carrying out several terrorist attacks against the government and NTAC. In the third and fourth season, it's revealed that the people from the future were divided, and that only a certain faction who created the 4,400 wanted to see the future changed. The other faction opposed the 4,400, and ended up sending in their own operative, which included Isabel Tyler and the Marked. Jordan Collier, our attorney, developed a shot for the public, which could allow the development of abilities like the 4,400. However, only approximately half of the human population can withstand this medication while the other half die. In response to this, the government outlawed the shot. Not only because the shots killed people, but also because it made NTAC's appointed tasks more complicated. Jordan Collier later formed the Promise City, an annexed part of Seattle. It was to become a haven and sanctuary for powered people. September 2007, the 4,400 was cancelled and thus a conclusion was never reached. Its production was pretty straightforward. The 4,400 was proposed by American Zoetrope on September 14th, and it was the only television series to come out of American Zoetrope. In 2007, 3 months after the end of Season 4, writer and co-creator Scott Peters announced that because of the Writers Guild of America's strike, budget issues and low ratings that the 4400 would be cancelled and not return for a 5th season despite its cliffhanger. In 2018, the CW announced that a reboot was in development. Taylor Elmore and Craig Sweeney, who worked on the original, would write and serve as executive producers. In 2019, it was reported that the development of the pilot still needed to be finished. 2021 saw the CW order the show for the fall 2021 season. Co-executive producer Ariana Jackson and Anna Frick would serve as showrunners. March 2021 announced several series regulars: Joseph David Jones, Kayla Johnson, Brittany Adbamola, J. Lady Moore, Amar Wooden, T.L. Thompson, Corey Gicoma, Irene Roach, Derek A. King and Autumn Best. According to Deadline, the description of the series, over the last century at least, 4,400 people who were overlooked, undervalued, or otherwise marginalized vanished without a trace off the face of the planet. Last night, inexplicably, they were all returned in an instant in Detroit, MI, having not aged today and with no memory of what happened to them. Very much like the original series, the reboot will follow the government who tried to understand the phenomenon of the 4,400 returned. It will also follow several returnees who have inexplicable powers. Some notable changes just from the description of the series is that instead of Seattle, Washington, near Mount Rainier, the city will be Detroit, MI, and instead of 50 years, people could have been abducted in the last century. A character description for Amar Wooden's character Hayden disappeared sometime in the 1930s from an institution. J. Lady Moore's character Claudette is another who disappeared sometime in the 1950s during a civil rights movement. While the reboot shares its foundation with the original series, it is set for the 21st century. The 4400 had unique premise and relatable characters. When the 4400 was cancelled in 2007, fans of the science fiction show sent nearly 6,000 bags of sunflower seeds to the company. This was to protest the cancellation of the show. The inspiration behind the 6,000 bags of sunflower seeds: Jeffrey Combs's character Dr. Kevin Burkhoff, who was always chewing down on the salty snacks. I personally was also upset at the cancellation because of the cliffhanger season 4 left off on. I rate the 4400 3.2 out of 5. I think the big issue I had with the show was the introduction of so many 4400 characters and all of their issues and situations, but with no resolution or closure for any of them, or I should say very few of them. But what I did like is that the gifts that were given to the 4400 had a sort of ripple effect into the community that could either change society, the future, or even bring together people for a common goal. The plot twists were quite good. The moral obligations of new medicines and technology were well thought out and seemingly explored well. I think another prime issue I had with the show, especially watching it later, is that the writing was subpar and sometimes even the acting was a tad cringeworthy. Once again, this show was made in 2004, but I don't think this excuses at the very least the writing. What are your thoughts? Are you excited for the reboot or worried? Did you like the original, or did you have similar issues that I had? As of June 17th, watch the 4400 on Netflix. Until next time, cheers!